Hi, it's me again. I'm back. I just wanted to pop on real quick and kind of give you some instruction on how to do the second stitch. I know some of you may have already read ahead because I did post the link to the stitch on the last post, which was yesterday. But today I wanted to actually show it to you. So this is the first one. This was the single crochet, and I finished my 6. I haven't even woven in all the ends yet. Woven in? Weaved in. Either way, I haven't put the ends through yet and cleaned those up, but I'm going to do that in front of the TV tonight. So here's all of those. I'm starting to get a nice big stack of squares. And so you'll see that the texture on the two of these is going to be very different. One's a little bit fluffier and softer, and one's a little bit more sturdy. But because the stitches are the same, they're gonna hook up really nicely next to each other. So they're exactly the same size. And then we have the same amount of stitches on the bottom and the top, so they're gonna just, when we go to sew them together, it'll be very easy. And there's multiple different ways to do that. I probably will give you some choices because they all provide different looks. I like mine to be kind of flat. The traditional way has kind of a ridge across between the squares. So that'll come at the end once we figure out our pattern and stuff, but I'm gonna give you a couple different choices. So anyway, this is what it looks like. Isn't it so pretty? And you can kind of see through it. It's a little bit holier than the first one, but it's definitely softer, and it's also stretchier too. So anyway, so I'm going to change the camera around so you have a different angle, and then you can see my hands, and I'll show you how it's done. Okay, you guys, so here is the second square. This is what it's going to look like. Check that out. Isn't that so pretty? So this is just a stitch that I found on Pinterest. I find most of my stitches on Pinterest. This one's super easy. It's called a half double crochet, but it's not just half double crochet. It's back loop. It alternates between back loop and front loop. So, and I'm gonna show you what that means, but it creates this really cool texture, and it's still pretty solid without being, I mean, it's got some holes in it, but it's not too much, but it's also like really soft and really like, I don't know, I just love it. Anyway, so I'm really excited about it. Might be my new favorite stitch. Now I'm sitting here thinking about all the things that I can make with it. But so I'm gonna go ahead and show you from the beginning what it looks like. This one's not quite finished. It's right at the last one, so I'm gonna show you that at the end. But I'm gonna go ahead and start fresh so you can see how you do it. And I'm gonna link, I already did a link actually in the last post, but I'm gonna link it on this video too, to the directions online, because somebody else created this, not me, and you can just follow along in those, and it'll also kind of teach you how to read a pattern too. So, but this is what we're basically going to start off with, chaining just like we did with the other one. Luckily, this particular stitch calls for, basically all you have to do is just even amount of stitches. So my last square was 34 chains and then 1 up. And that's what this one is too. So because 34 is even. If yours was like 35, then just, you know, add 1 stitch to it. It does shrink up a little bit, but it also stretches a lot too. So I wouldn't worry too much about being 1 stitch different than your other squares. I don't know what number I'm on. Hold on just a second. Here, let me get to where it looks like I'm there. I just got back from my first day at work. I've been gone for over a week. And so I went in today because it's the end of the month. I went in to do all of last week's worth of work today. And it was a little bit hair raising, but I did it. So kind of excited about that. And then I won't go back in till Thursday. So social distancing without getting too far behind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. Oh my gosh, I was so close. Okay, so 34 and then 1 up. So technically a half double crochet is like, what do you call that? A stitch and a half up, because it's just a little bit bigger than a regular crochet, regular single crochet. So the way you do a double crochet is you do a round this first, and then you go into this hoop, just like we did before, like we did with the single crochet, wrap it again and pull it up. Now on a double crochet, you would actually wrap it and pull it through 2, and then wrap it and pull it through another 2. But this is a half double, so we're gonna set it up as a double crochet. Hold on. So you got 3 hoops on the hook, and then you wrap it and you're gonna pull it through all 3 at the same time. So that just makes it just a little bit thicker than a regular single crochet. And then you're gonna do that all the way across. No front hoop or no front loop, back loop on the first round. So the first level is just straight half double crochet all the way across. So I'd love to hear what you guys are doing right now. Are you still working? Are you not working? Are you going stir crazy? Are you loving being home? Are you laid off, or are you still getting paid and you just get to work from home? What's your situation right now with all this virus outbreak stuff? Since I own my own business and our business is considered essential, because we provide diesel engine parts, which keeps the trucks moving, that keeps our food coming to us. So we have to keep providing that, which is good because we don't want to stop working, but and there's only 3 of us in the office, so we can still stay very socially distant. Most of our orders come by phone or by internet. We have a couple of walk-ins now and then, but not very often. So we don't have a lot of interaction with the public. But because my job, we do run our own business, we kind of do have to keep going, but at the same time, I have a little bit more freedom. So as long as I can get all of the work done, I don't have to be there every day. So I'm choosing not to be there every day, much to my husband's dismay, because he is there every day and he prefers that I be there too. But I feel like there's no purpose to it, because as long as I can get the work done, then it's not necessary for me to be in that environment. But the guys keep working, and actually it's been busy there, which is kind of funny. I didn't expect that to happen. I thought business would go down, but a lot of places have closed, and so people just keep calling until they find the place that's open, and that's us. So it's working to our advantage right now. For now, we'll see what happens in the future. So what's going on with you? I would love to start doing this as like a Zoom type of a meeting. I set up a Zoom account so that, I don't know if you guys have tried that yet, where everybody's on, it's almost like a Skype for like multiple people. You can do up to 100 people on it. Not that I expect us to ever be 100 people, but if it's, like 5 of us want to sit around and crochet together and just talk about what's going on in our lives, then we could do that. It would be kind of fun. So let me know if that's something you are interested in. This one does take a little longer than the single crochet, just because you have to kind of think about what you're doing and make sure that you're getting in that. You probably found out from the last one that trying to crochet into the chain is always kind of hard. Okay, make sure you don't go into the knot. You just go into the last stitch there. Pull it all the way through. And see how it's just thicker than a regular single crochet. This is kind of, a lot of people like this better than single crochet, just because it's kind of thicker and softer. So we're gonna go up 1, and then this is where it's gonna get fun. So in the top of this, when I say front loop, back loop, there are 2 loops. We talked about this earlier. I'm glad we're doing this with gray because you can see it better than you could with the navy. But see how there's a loop right here in the back and a loop in the front. And it's that way all the way across. Usually when you're doing a stitch, you're usually going through both of those loops at the same time. Did I already? Oh, you have to make sure you chain up one, because if you don't, then things will get ooky. Oh, maybe I already did. I did already chain one. Okay. The hardest part of this stitch is the ends, because it's hard to see that chain up sometimes. So what you're going to do is you're going to wrap it once, just like you're going to do a double crochet or a half double. And instead of going through both of those stitches like we normally do, the first stitch, we're going to go through only the back loop. Oops. See that? So you're going to go into that V and just go through the back loop, pull your stitch up, and then go through all 3 of those loops on there. So it leaves like a little string in the front there. Then we're going to do it again, only on the next one, we're only going to go through the front loop. So you want to leave the back loop on there. Don't go through both. Pull that stitch through and then go across. So basically what you get is kind of a 2-sided look where you have kind of a random thread right there on this side and that same random thread on that side. And it gives it just kind of this neat texture. And you're just gonna go back and forth all the way. Oops, I messed up. Sorry guys, I'm gonna go back. The one thing that you do have to do at the very beginning that I forgot. Sorry, this is a new stitch to me too. So at the very beginning, what you're gonna do is instead of going back loop, front loop, is the very first one you're gonna do a regular half double, because basically what we're doing is we're forming a frame around the outside of this box. So on the inside is going to be the texture, and along the outside is going to be this frame of the nice solid half double crochets. So the first one is half double, the last one is half double you want to be in both loops on that. And then the rest of the way across you're going to do back loop only, and then front loop only. And then back loop only. See that V? I'm going right into that V there. Do the back loop only. And then front loop only. So one thing I did notice in doing that other square is that you're going to start, so you start with going through both loops, and then the next stitch is the second stitch, right? So the even number is through the back loops and the odd number is through the front loops. So when you get to the end, you're going to end with the front loop, and then your very last stitch will be through both hoops. I don't know if that made sense, but for me it's nice because sometimes I get to the end and I'm like, okay, did I skip one? Did I get them all? And it's kind of hard to see that last stitch, so it's kind of nice to know where you're supposed to be. And if you can't remember what stitch you're on, you can kind of start to see that like there's a little, both of those things go through the front on that one, and you'll start to see the pattern form. And then you'll know, okay, the one that has the one in front, that was a back stitch. Sometimes it wants to be pesky. If it's hard to get through that first one, go ahead and go through both and then just kind of like slip that back one off of there. Okay, so I'm finishing on the front stitch, which should make it the right number. You can always go back and count and make sure you got them all. And then the very last one, you're going to go through both of those. And it's actually not the front two, like the way it looks, it's actually the top two. So you want to kind of like bend it this way a little bit, and it's those two right there. So wrap it and go through both of them. And that's what it looks like. So all the texture will be in the middle, and it'll be surrounded by this outside line that's nice and clean. So you just basically do that back and forth until you get to the height that your square, the same height that your square is wide. So if you're doing, like we started off doing 12-inch squares, but if somebody decided that they wanted to do 8-inch squares or smaller, then just make sure that if it's like these are actually turning out to be like 11.5 inches wide, then I end up doing 11.5 inches tall so that it's a square basically. And so that they match my blue ones that I did on the first round. So I did one up, and then that first one is through both of those, the back and the front. And then you go back and front again, just like before. So instead of showing you the whole thing, obviously, because that's gonna get tedious, I'm gonna skip to this one that I already did. I'll set that aside. This one's already done. All I have to do is the top line. So see how this is like nice and straight down here? You can kind of see how it's nice and straight going up the side. Now all I'm gonna do is I'm going to finish the top row with just all half double crochets straight across. Okay, so I just went back and checked the pattern, and it turns out that I am adding this because this is not in the pattern. So if you follow the pattern, it wants you to just do the back loop, front loop all the way to the top and then just be done. But for me, if we're gonna do a line at the bottom that's just regular half double crochet, and we're gonna do a line on the sides that's just regular half double crochet, to me it needs to be on the top too. So that's just a personal issue. If you want to follow the pattern, I'm sure it'd be fine. But for me, I'm going to go ahead and finish it to match the bottom so that the top and the bottom look just as clean. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So this last piece is going to be, we're going to go up one, and then we're going to do the half double all the way across through both loops. No front back stuff. And after that front back stuff, this will seem really fast because it's just gonna go straight across. And those loops are nice and big, so they're easy to see. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so yeah, to me that makes all the difference. So you can do it either way you want. For me, I like it to be clean. If it's gonna be clean on the bottom, it needs to be clean on top too, so that it matches. But I don't think it's, you know, when we start sewing them all together, it probably isn't gonna make that much of a difference. But I like it. Okay, you get to the end and you do just like the other one. You just do an extra chain stitch there, kind of as your slip knot. And then that one should be done. Just like that. Ta-da. Now, if you have any trouble with this at all, I know that this is a little bit like, for those of us who have been crocheting for a long time, this is probably going to be like super simple, and you'll probably be like, why didn't I always do this stitch? Because it's really cute. But for those of you who just started, it might get a little frustrating trying to figure out which loop is the back loop and which loop is the front loop, or trying to get your hook to do what you want it to do. So if you have any problems at all, just let me know, and I'm happy to like walk you through it, or we can talk about it together. But anyway, so that's it. The next square, I'm looking at possibly doing a shell stitch, which is, they kind of go like this. That's sort of the well-known crochet stitch, but I did just accidentally run across a tulip stitch, which goes like in a square that's almost like a granny square. So if you guys want extra texture, so maybe I'll do both and let you guys choose which ones you want, which one you want to do. And you can have the option of changing color in those too if you want to. But so that'll be on our third square, but right now this is our second set of squares, and I will show you pictures when I get more than one done. So anyway, have fun and let me know if you need any help. Talk to you soon. Bye.